I don't want a podcast. I just want pictures of Spider-Man.
I want pictures of Spider-Man. No joke though, like this like series of episodes that we're about to do is like probably the one that I was the most excited about because I fucking love Spider-Man. I even wore a Spider-Man t-shirt today. I'm literally wearing it right now.
You're a fucking dork,
dude. I want pictures of Spider-Man.
Apparently. All right. So what are we doing today, Jamie?
So today, the next couple episodes of the podcast are going to be a multi-parter because we don't want one 5-hour long fucking episode of the podcast going up. So what we're doing is we're going through all of the Spider-Man movies in order. So today we're going to be talking about the Sam Raimi trilogy. So Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. The next episode, this is the rough idea. Right now, I believe what we're going to be doing is Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 will be its own episode. Homecoming and Far From Home will be its own. And then we're going to give one full episode just to Spider-Verse. There's a possibility that depending on how recording goes at the time, we might actually crunch the Amazing Spider-Man episode recording and Homecoming and Far From Home into one episode. I feel like we might just kind of play it by ear just because I have a lot to complain about.
We'll see how long those ones go for, right? Like
exactly.
Because you never know. Like we could end up talking everything we need to say about the Amazing Spider-Man movies in like 20 minutes, you know?
Exactly. Like all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that like I have, before we go into that recording, that I've watched both Amazing Spider-Man and the 2 new Spider-Man movies before going into the recording and have my notes just in case. But if not, they'll be separate ones. But either way, the first episode, which is going to be today's, is Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, man. The OGs.
The OGs.
The way backs.
The way backs.
Before superhero movies were cool.
Speaking of Sam Raimi, real quick before we get into
some breaking news.
Nitty-gritty.
That's old as fuck news by the time this goes up, but
yeah, by the time this goes up, we are recording this on the 5th of February right now, where the news just broke. Now, of course, it's still not fully confirmed by Disney or Marvel at all, but there is a lot of really, really positive news about that Sam Raimi might be taking over as director for Doctor Strange 2. What was it?
The Multiverse of Madness.
The Multiverse of Madness. Yeah.
Which literally just sounds like a Sam Raimi movie.
Dude, it's
Multiverse of Madness sounds like a movie he would have made in the like mid 90s.
If that's true and that he ends up directing the second Doctor Strange movie, I am literally gonna shit.
I'm gonna shit it in my pants.
Dude, I love Sam Raimi. Dude,
so
he's a great director. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a really good writer. Really good director.
And yeah, he's a really good writer too. So it's just like the thing that why I'm so excited about this, besides the fact that I already like Sam Raimi, is that they've said a couple times that they're wanting this to be the first like scary MCU movie. Dude's got a really good track record with horror. I
mean, yeah, like that's what he made his name off of, right? Like, you know.
So to see him going back to
most people probably around our age just would think that he made his name off of Spider-Man, but he was, you know, he had his peak before Spider-Man came out, you know, like,
oh, totally.
You know, those Evil Dead and Army of Darkness movies are fucking like classic ass movies.
And he's also done other movies like Drag Me to Hell, which like aren't as super popular and probably not as also not as good. But
they're still solid horror. Like Drag Me to Hell wasn't a bad horror movie.
Exactly. You know, so it's like he has a really good history with horror and he knows what he's doing. He's also been producing amazing horror movies.
He didn't write or direct it. He was just the executive producer. But Evil Dead Remake, fucking amazing. I will defend that movie till my fucking grave.
The Evil Dead Remake slaps, dude.
It really does.
So fucking good.
It really does.
I'm just quickly. Oh yeah, he's also producing the Last of Us movie.
Nice.
What else?
I keep forgetting that that's even a thing that they're still making, because I feel like they announced that like 10 fucking years ago.
Don't Breathe. He produced that.
The fuck? What's Don't Breathe?
Don't Breathe is a horror thriller that stars one of the main actors, Stephen Lang from Avatar. He was like the general. And basically what it is in like, just in case if you do end up watching it, which I would highly recommend, is take a couple people who are in someone's house for the wrong intentions. And
is it that shit movie where the guy's blind?
Shit movie? What are you on about?
That movie's dog shit.
Dude, that movie's great.
No,
Shut your mouth.
That movie's fucking terrible. It's got that weird turkey baster full of cum. What the fuck? Why was that even in the movie? Like, as I'm watching that movie, I'm like, this is an okay movie. And then all of a sudden there's a girl in his basement and he's got a turkey baster full of cum and like this giant vat of semen. Like, you know what? Why is it in the movie? It doesn't need to be there.
Funny thing about this movie though, because I have it open on IMDb right now. Jane Levy is the female lead. She's the lead in Don't Breathe. Which the movie is produced by Sam Raimi. She's also the lead in the Evil Dead remake, also produced by Sam Raimi. Both movies directed by Fede Alvarez. So apparently those three really like working together.
I guess so. Also, I mean, I guess it shouldn't surprise me too much that a Sam Raimi produced movie has got some weird sexual shit going on with it, because he does like that shit. All right, so
he's weird.
Let's get into some Spider-Man, boy.
Let's get into Spider-Man. Get into Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 1, 2002.
2002. See, I remember one of the weird things about Spider-Man when it came out, because obviously we were super young when this came out. We were both born in '94, so we were 6 when this movie came out. I do remember seeing it in theaters because I remember it like every year. My dad's birthday would always land on like the week or the week after like a big blockbuster movie came out, because it was like right in that time period where all the blockbusters would come out. So every year for his birthday, we would go as a family and watch whatever big blockbuster movie had come out. And like obviously that year it was Spider-Man. And I remember literally not giving a single shit about it when I was a kid. Like I watched it and I was like, I was bored the whole time. I don't care about this. And my dad was like, what the fuck do you mean? You know, like, this is super cool. You're a kid. You should love this stuff. I'm like, nah, I don't give a shit. And then I watched it like as a teenager. I was like, this movie's fucking dope.
Yeah.
I turned to my dad. I'm like, have you seen this movie? It's so good. He's like, you're an asshole.
See, I got bit by the. I got bit by the spider. I got bit by the bug of like the Spider-Man fever that happened around that time when like after Spider-Man 1 and then eventually 2 and 3, not so much 3, but definitely like 1 and 2 came out, you know, because I remember vividly like after Spider-Man 1 came out and it was doing so well. I think even like a little bit before the movie came out, they started airing reruns again of the Spider-Man animated series.
Hell yeah, bro.
So I started watching that. So I actually started watching that before I ended up going to go see the movie, I believe, if memory serves me right. And dude, like I got right into Spider-Man like real quick. I definitely don't remember watching the movie when it came out at all. I'm not even 100% sure if I did watch it right when it came out. But dude, like I was definitely, I would say probably when I was a teenager is when I like really got into the movie, like a lot, like when I actually was paying attention to, you know, oh, this is like a, you know, good aspect to it and like all that dumb shit, all that stupid teenager bullshit.
Yeah. Honestly, my favorite thing about Spider-Man as a kid though was there was these Spider-Man toys. I don't know if you remember them. They had like suction cup hands.
Oh, yeah.
Like suction cup Spider-Man to wherever. And I don't know why I did this. My mom could probably back the story up. I might be remembering it wrong. But I would, like, my mom bought me like a bunch of them. And then I would just pop the suction cup off of them and just eat them. I don't know why. I just eat the suction cups. And I never understood why I did that.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know. Anytime I see like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, I just remember having that action figure and eating the suction cups. Like that's all. When I watch the movies, it's all I can think about is eating those suction cups. Because I was a fucking idiot when I was a kid.
You're such an idiot.
Yeah.
When I think of whenever I think of like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, the first thing that comes to mind for me is the like 4 Spider-Man posters that I had on my wall when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I also had Spider-Man bed sheets. So
Hell yeah.
I had Spider-Man posters at my mom's house, and I had a bunch of Spider-Man toys. And then at my dad's house, I had Spider-Man bed sheets, like a whole bedspread, the pillow covers, the fucking the quilt, the stupid elastic fucking sheet that wraps around your mattress, everything. Like it was like fully decked out in Spider-Man. I also remember I used to have like this Spider-Man hat that I got when I was really, really young as well. And still to this day, like what you said, we were like 6 when that came out. From 6 years old all the way to 25. I would say, weirdly enough, I'm probably a bigger Spider-Man fan now than I was when I was like 6 years old.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the love that Spider-Man has gotten is like not only just since the Raimi movies came out, but like especially since then, like, you know, like once we got him in the MCU and stuff, and like all the video games, and like Spider-Man's always been like, you know, he always gets so much love from everybody.
He's a full-on like pop culture icon at this point.
Yeah,
you know, and has been for a while.
Yeah, I would say at this point, Spider-Man is probably the most popular superhero on planet Earth. Because
I think I'd agree with that. I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah, the only one that might come close to it would be Iron Man, which is weird to say because
or Batman.
No one gave a. I mean, I feel like the DCEU has done so much harm to Batman.
That's fair. That's fair. And also with Iron Man, like he's covered multiple generations of people.
Yeah, but the weird thing about Iron Man though is you go back like 15 years before fucking MCU started. No one gave a fuck about Iron Man.
Oh no, I'm saying like during the course of the MCU. I mean,
yeah.
Like I'm saying like from 2008 when the MCU first started with Iron Man all the way up until now. Mm-hmm. Like like Iron Man, I feel covers because of the MCU and because having all those characters covers a wider range of people than Batman.
Yeah, because I like this weekend I was at some friend's house and we were drinking. We were playing Cards Against Humanity, and one of my cards had it just said Batman or like I'm Batman or something on it, and I played it, and then we got into an argument about because like I said that Batman's my favorite superhero because that's true. Batman is my favorite superhero, and then everyone devolved into just shitting on me because Batman's terrible. What has Batman ever done? Like Iron Man would kick Batman. Like everyone's going on me about how shitty Batman is. I'm like, could you imagine saying this 10 years ago? Like
Iron Man would not kick the shit out of Batman, by the way.
Batman fucking beat Superman for fuck's sake. Like, come on.
They have the same, their moms have the same name.
They're best friends now.
He wins.
Why would you say that name?
Oh, God, stupid. Anyways, this is not a podcast about DC. But yeah, I think like it's really crazy the fact that like of course like Spider-Man was already so popular before this movie came out.
Yeah, the animated series was super big. His comics were always super big.
It's crazy to think of the fact that this movie, definitely the first 2, not the third, but first 2, more specifically the first one, shot Spider-Man out of the stratosphere when it comes to pop culture.
It did that with just superheroes in general, I feel like.
Totally.
Because, like, you know, some people make, like, anytime this gets brought up, people talk about, like, how X-Men and Superman, or Spider-Man, were really the 2 movies that launched us into our current day age of superhero movies. And then people always like to bring up, you know, the 80s Batman movies, Tim Burton Batman movies, and those, I feel like those are different. Like those are definitely a different era of superhero movies.
Yeah, like I lump in the Christopher Reeves Superman movies in with the Tim Burton like that era of Batman movies into the same era of superhero. You know, like it was during that time where, like for fuck's sakes, like those movies had how many different Batmans over such a short period of time. Definitely not the same for Superman. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm fully pointing the fact that was a different, you know, actor, but it's just like they had a revolving door of directors, writers, and actors constantly
the thing
on that series.
That the X-Men and the Raimi trilogy of Spider-Man movies did to really launch our current day of superhero movies is they kept them consistent. It was a series with the same characters, same actors, for the most part, same director. I know that X-Men 3 changed the director and it was shit, but like keeping that consistency of having the same characters where you go to the next one and you know that it's going to continue the story from the last one. Superhero movies were not like that before. And these two trilogies like really like launched us into this golden age of superhero movies where you have interconnected storytelling of the fucking wazoo. Like it's banana shit crazy these days.
Yeah, like without Spider-Man and the X-Men movies.
And I would say probably Spider-Man was better at it than X-Men were.
I agree.
I feel like Spider-Man always had a more mainstream appeal than X-Men did.
Oh, I totally agree. I think like Spider-Man had a more mainstream appeal, and I also feel like it had a broader appeal when it comes to, because like the most important reason why the MCU is like works is not put aside the fact that they do actually produce really, really good and enjoyable movies, and from time to time they strike gold. You know, with stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Thor Ragnarok, like movies like those where they're genuinely great movies, even outside of the MCU. But I genuinely think one of the biggest things is the fact that they are movies that have such a wide age range that they can appeal to. Not so much the type of people that they can apply to, but it's the age range. The littlest of fucking children can go to an MCU movie and enjoy it, and the oldest bags of old people can go and probably enjoy it if they can hear and or see it. But you know what I mean? Like it's just like, and that's like that's I feel like why it works is a combination of it has such a wide appeal of age ranges, so literally anybody can go at any point. You also don't have to watch the previous movies, except for maybe a couple of them. You have to watch prior movies to understand what the fuck is going on. Endgame. But and of course the combination of that, and they have a pretty consistent quality, like the Spider-Man movies. Except for the third one.
All right, so let's get into this fucking movie, man. Because
let's get into this movie.
Spider-Man 1.
Spider-Man 1. This movie's fucking great, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you with a little bit of blasphema right at the beginning. All right. Okay. Just so we get this out of the way, so we know where I stand on this trilogy. Okay. And you might hate me for this.
Oh God, I'm so ready for this.
This trilogy of movies is the most over fucking rated trilogy of movies of all time.
As a trilogy, I agree.
And but the first one for me, the first one's my favorite out of all three of them. I really enjoy this first one.
That's the fucking blasphemy.
People always point to Iron Man 1 as like, or like Guardians of the Galaxy as like, this is how you do an origin story, which I agree. Those are two fantastic origin story movies, but to me,
I think Spider-Man
1 is the best origin story movie. Like I love that movie so much.
That's
him having those moments where he's like trying to learn how to use his powers and he fucking sucks at it. Like that's so interesting and cool. I like all that stuff. So yeah, this is my favorite of the trilogy. I really like this movie.
Yeah, I'm a bigger fan of the second one over the first one. But you know what? I take back what I said. What I said about Blast. I totally understand why this would be anybody's favorite out of the three. There are very specific reasons why I enjoy the second one over the first one, but just like you basically listed off, you have very specific reasons why you enjoy the first one over the second one. Which is kind of how it is for these first two movies. You know, like it's like the first one's so damn good. I genuinely think that the first one has everything that you need for a comic book movie.
Yeah, for a campy Sam Raimi comic book movie. Like, it's everything that you want. Because I always hear people talk about how they're like the charm of the trilogy is how campy it all is. But to like, which I agree with, like the Sam Raimi campy factor is to me like the main like thing that holds these movies together. But the first one is by far the campiest. Like,
oh, totally.
Just Willem Dafoe's entire performance is 100% camp. And like the costumes look like garbage, and like it's almost like borderline so bad it's good, but it's not bad. It strides this line of good and bad where
it plays itself off as if it's a so bad it's good type of movie.
Yes.
But it's actually really good. It just gives you the feeling, and it gives you the emotional response as if you're watching something that's so bad it's good. Yeah. I totally agree with what you're saying, by the way. Except for the fucking costumes.
The costumes are dog shit, dude. They look terrible.
I will fucking fight you. No. I will fight you.
They look genuinely bad. Like, anytime Willem Dafoe's on screen in that fucking dog shit costume, it's the funniest thing. I always laugh. Every time I see him, he's not scary at all because he's just funny. Because, like, especially that scene at, like, the parade where they have all the floats and stuff, and like he's like jumping around and like doing flips and shit. Just that's imagining ridiculous. Like old decrepit ass Willem Dafoe doing that stuff.
But he's green gassed Willem Dafoe.
That's true. Which brings me to the biggest plot hole in the entire. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, this movie. Some of the lines of dialogue in this movie are just like pure, just glorious. Just shameless camp. I love it so much. Like there's that scene where he's getting the green gas and he busts through and like he kills that guy, and he goes, as he's like killing him, he goes, "Back to formula."
Oh yeah.
and then he jumps up on the railing and he's like straddling the railing, and he hisses for no reason. Like, why are you hissing? It's so ridiculous. I love it.
It's great.
You also got the part where the burning building is happening, and you have Spider-Man going in to save the screaming woman in there, and then it's like a cross-dressing Green Goblin.
No, dude, it's the fucking green babushka.
And then fucking I forget what the fuck the line dialogue is, which is weird because I just watched this movie today, but yeah, it's so good. It's such a good fucking movie just because it's so ridiculous and over the top and stupid. I like this movie for the same reason I love the Fast and the Furious movies, because they just don't, like, this movie doesn't care that it's campy garbage.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the Fast and Furious movies don't care that they're completely unrealistic dog shit. Like, they revel in that. And this movie revels in how campy garbage it is.
Which is also awesome too, because it's like it's been well documented that Sam Raimi is a huge Spider-Man fan. Yeah. And he has been since he was really young. So it's like it's not campy from someone who's trying to make fun of it.
Yeah, it's not like those shitty parts from the X-Men movies where they literally make fun of the source material. You know, where like they
by
like
making
make fun
the movies
of the fucking yellow spandex and shit like that. Like that's just disrespectful to source material. This one is campy, respectful to the source material. Like
it's coming from love, and it's coming from the heart. It's like, I love this, but Sam Raimi understands the fact that comic books on their own, especially around the time that the movie came out, are pretty campy and dumb.
Yeah, this
So
is
it's like, why not do
Spider-Man
that?
isn't fucking. I mean, I know they tried to do it, but it's not like Frank Miller Batman level shit. Like, it's
Not at all.
deep introspective stuff. It's just a guy that swings on webs, stops a bad guy. Like, and that's what this movie tries to do, and I think it does it perfectly. It does it the best out of these three movies, at least.
Yeah, I would totally agree that like the can and like I feel like this is, if you want to like rate the three of them in just the category of like what one is the most fun to watch, like just completely turn your brain off, not like paying attention to the plot, but just barely, just like to get a nostalgia trip. I feel like the first one does it perfectly.
Oh yeah, because the second one, it gets a little dark, and then the third one, we all know what happens in the third one. But yeah, like this one, it's just a fun, like from beginning to end, fun ass movie. It doesn't bog you down with like super emotional shit. It's just like, I mean, there's a little bit of it to drive the plot forward, but it's never, you know, it never bogs down anything. It never.
Yeah, and it's warranted. Like it's also earned as well. Like they've built up the relationship for the character to have that emotional moment. So it makes sense. And it's like when I watched the movie a couple days ago, like it was literally just Paris and I sitting on the couch having drinks watching Spider-Man 1, and it was great. Like I hadn't watched the first Spider-Man in probably a couple years. I'd rewatched the second one with Paris, I think probably early last year. So, but like the first one I hadn't seen in a really long time, and it was great. I will say, and just because I have it capitalized, I have it caps locked on my screen and my notes, so I have to get to it. In my opinion, the absolute height of campiness in the entire movie is, and I will fight people on this, the best scene in the entire movie.
Okay, hit me.
Bonesaw.
Oh, fucking 100% yes.
No
the
joke.
The Bonesaw scene makes this movie my favorite of the three. Like, if it wasn't for the Bonesaw scene, number 2 would probably be my favorite. But, oh man, Macho Man fucking kills it.
Here's the thing that gets me. So my entire childhood, I have always remembered the line, Bonesaw is ready.
Yeah, okay.
I've always remembered it. I never knew how much of that scene I actually remembered. When the cage came down, it was like a gut reaction. I just started going, "You're going nowhere. I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime." And I was like, how do I remember this? And like, even the part when he jumps up on the cage and I go, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, how do I remember this? Yeah. But it's just like, it's
outfit. Your husband make it for you?
Oh, dude. Great. So good. And it's just like that whole scene, like Bruce Campbell playing the sleazy promoter that changes the name from Human Spider to the Amazing Spider-Man, which I think is I genuinely think out of the Spider-Man movies that we've had so far, I feel like some of like I hate it when they put too much emphasis on this, not Spider-Man specifically, but superheroes in general. I hate it when movies put way too much emphasis on how and when they discover their name, like their superhero name. But I also hate when we get the same character over and over and over and over again, but they almost never, like, we know why Batman calls himself Batman. But I would love one of the Batman movies just to have a fucking scene that he's talking about it. Yeah, I understand that that's like that's telling the audience instead of showing it, but I can only watch Bruce Wayne fall into that fucking cave full of bats. I can only see that so many times. You know, and
they'll probably never do a Batman origin story ever again. That's
which I'm okay with
forever.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, but like with Spider-Man, like I just love the fact that they just throw it there. Like it's completely
he
unprompted.
Came up with the name and it was stupid.
Yeah,
and then
like
just
it's
this random guy's like, nah, that's shit.
He's like, the human spider, and they don't even set it up a thing where he's like yes, he does point out the fact that that's a stupid name, but he doesn't mention the fact that he's going to change it and give him something else. So it's when he grabs the microphone and he introduces him as the Amazing Spider-Man, it's just that moment of like, that's how he gets it.
Yeah,
you know,
that's hilarious.
like it's also an awesome, it's a really good piece of world building for the trilogy of, or what was supposed to be franchise of movies at the time too, because it's like when eventually, because there had to have been a point in the storyline where he was talking to someone and it was the first time he referred to himself as Spider-Man. So in that moment, or at some point in the story, Peter Parker was sitting there being like, I'm going to need a name. And he remembers the wrestling match. And he remembers that promoter. He remembers the night that Uncle Ben died. And he's like, I remember I was called the Amazing Spider-Man. I'll go as Spider-Man. But they never show that part. And that's okay. That is okay. But because I'm okay with that just staying in my imagination forever.
One thing I gotta say about the Bonesaw scene, just because I think it's a funny story. So my day job is I'm a cook at a restaurant.
What?
And I know it's crazy. And one thing that we've done for like, I don't even remember like when it started. It's been going on for at least a year and a half probably. Me and my boss will always like, you know, like he'll put up like eggs or whatever, like whatever's ready, and we'll literally go like, medium eggs are ready in Macho Man Randy Savage's voice.
That's amazing.
I don't even know. And like we used to do this thing when this other guy worked there where we would always need like for like a wrap with crispy chicken, we need 3 chicken strips for that, right? So anytime we would ask this guy to pass us over 3 chicken strips from the freezer, we would go, I got you for 3 chicken strips.
Oh my God.
Because I don't know why that scene always just stuck out to us, and we reference that constantly because it's so memorable.
It's fantastic. It's
I love
great.
that whole scene. It's so good. That's the one thing that the other movies really lack is like that, the wrestling scene, because like that's from the comics, right? The whole wrestling thing, and like they
that's from the comics, yeah,
and they have like a slight homage to it in Amazing Spider-Man, but it's like it's super like I feel like it would be really cool to have like, you know, another scene where Spider-Man does something with like just because it's so fun, like it's so like stupid and fun, and like it makes sense that a kid that gets these superpowers would try and like make money off of it. And like, how do you make money off of it? Oh, you go to professional wrestling. But
and it's like what?
Like I feel like maybe that's a product of its time, of like the early 2000s, with like the Attitude Era of the WWE was like just coming to its end. And like wrestling was, in my opinion, wrestling was at its peak, right? Like professional wrestling was like at its fucking peak around that time, right?
Which is true. Wrestling was at its peak at that time.
I mean, I'd probably just say that because I was a kid and I love wrestling as a kid. But that era is kind of done now, and I don't feel like kids nowadays are really like super into wrestling like we were.
Well, the thing about it at this point is like I still think a scene like that could totally work and be fine. And the only reason why, and I understand that you wouldn't be aware of this because you don't watch wrestling anymore.
Nope.
But I do. Wrestling is having an amazing renaissance right now. It's becoming extremely popular. It's becoming a lot more wildly acceptable and accessible at the same time. You know, because of the fact that, you know, kind of like at that point as well, there were multiple different companies, and there were a couple different wrestling companies doing shows on television. It wasn't like that for a while. Like, yeah, there were like, you know, smaller, you know, promotions, but they weren't getting as many traction. But like right now, there's 2 huge promotions who have great traffic at the moment. So I feel like at this time, I think it would actually work, but you would have to choose the wrestler correctly. A John Cena would work.
It would just be The Rock. You know, it's
The Rock. Or John Cena or Batista someone who's had Hollywood appeal. It worked back in the day because everyone fucking knows Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, like
everyone knows Macho
bigger
Man.
than fucking Jesus at that time.
Yeah, you need no explanation. But like, you know, I think the best choice would be The Rock, of course, because it wouldn't make any other sense, you know. But if not, a John Cena, a Batista, someone like that would also work as well, because they've also dabbled in Hollywood as well, so it would make sense. But yeah, dude, the fucking movie is awesome. The barbs in Peter's hand, though, when he right before he crawls on like the outside of the wall for the first time, the barbs always gross me the fuck out.
Yeah, they didn't have to do that.
Yeah, every time. It's disgusting.
I mean, I guess that really they're kind of trying to explain how you can crawl on walls. Like, that's a little weird. Yeah. But, like, we don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need that at all.
That's just gross.
Let's give a couple last little things that we enjoyed, and then a quick little overall one, because we're 35 minutes in and we're only on the first fucking movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know.
How about this? What's your favorite part of the movie?
My favorite part of the movie. I mean, my favorite part of the movie is the bonesaw scene, but because we were just talking about that, I'll say aside from that, my favorite part of the movie is this. It's the part in the movie where they're at the parade and Green Goblin comes and he fucks shit up, and then Spider-Man does this thing where he rips like cords out of the glider, right? And then his glider like spins out of control and he flies away, and Willem Dafoe literally has a line of dialogue in a live action movie where he says, "We'll meet again, Spider-Man," and
it's so good.
That's just hilarious because that's straight out of some fucking 90s fucking cartoon shit. So that's fantastic.
This is gonna. I hate to do this because it's totally double dipping, but I have like genuinely my favorite part in the whole movie is the scene on the rooftop between Spider-Man and Green Goblin. When Green Goblin is trying to be like, join me. I think that's the best scene in the whole movie.
That's pretty good.
Favorite fucking part in the movie is also during the festival, but it's after Green Goblin first shows up, and then eventually when Spider-Man shows up. My favorite part is, okay, the Green Goblin's out. Shit's fallen. Cement has fallen. People are fucking dying. They're being turned into literal bone. MJ is about to fall to her death. By the way,
why did they never talk about that again?
Just wait. Literally, MJ is about to fall to her death. The Green Goblin is running havoc. Spider-Man shows up, and one fucking idiot woman goes, "It's Spider-Man!" and points up to the fucking sky. It will forever be my favorite part, because if you look at the scene like behind her, everyone is freaking out and she has a huge grin on her face.
It's Spider-Man!
It's Spider-Man! And it's so out of nowhere, but it adds to the camp. It adds to the camp. And it's like any other, if it wasn't trying to be campy, or if there was no other camp in the movie, that would be my least favorite part of the movie. I'd have been like, why the fuck did they put that in there? But it makes sense.
Yeah. One thing that this movie does that is really refreshing coming from more modern superhero movies is like, because no movies do this anymore. They don't show the people that are being saved. Like, there's none of those scenes anymore where it's like Spider-Man shows up and then the people on the ground are like, "Oh my God, it's Spider-Man." Like, those scenes don't happen anymore for some reason. And like, maybe it's because they're campy and terrible, but like, I love them. So yeah, that was a great part.
So good. If it literally makes me laugh every single time that I see it.
Why did those guys turn to skeletons?
I don't know.
Like, and then he never uses that grenade again. He uses it that one time, and he probably went, "Oh shit, that's what that does? Fuck, I'm not going to use that anymore. That's too much." And then he just never used them again.
I don't understand at all. Like,
there's so many moments like that in these movies. You're just like, what was that about? Like, why did that happen? Just for no reason.
Yeah, like I know they mention the fact that those characters died, and like I get why Green Goblin would kill them. Like,
so that
I
was
get
his
it.
motivation, was killing those guys specifically.
Exactly. You know, because they were pushing Norman out of the company. So like everything that made sense. It was just so weird out of nowhere in like basically a family movie that they just get turned to bones. Like,
It's
what
so
the fuck?
random. It's so fucking random.
Yeah, a good movie. Good. It did the good. Also, you know that Emperor's New Groove meme where it's like the guy has like the OK symbol up and his hand up, and it's just like, it's like the reaction of like, ooh, that's really good.
Yeah.
I have that photo next to my note that refers to the rooftop scene because I fucking love that scene. It's so good. I brought this up before we did the podcast. I was doing this. I was writing an out of 10 rating. Personally, I'd give Spider-Man 1 7.5 out of 10.
All right. If I was to give it an out of 10, I would probably be a bit more harsh on it. I'd probably give it like a 6.5.
I'm so confused at what you're going to put Spider-Man 2 at then. If that's a 6, but it's your favorite out of the 3. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we get that part in Spider-Man 2. But let's move on to Spider-Man 2 because we're fucking 41 minutes in already. Yeah. Spider-Man 2.
It's all right.
It's fucking amazing.
That's okay.
It's so good.
It's a weird thing for me because I see all the praise that this movie gets. And like, I get it because this movie does do some super cool stuff with the character. And I like the fact that it's like, oh, he's like losing his power and blah, 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 whatever. But I don't care about any of it. I don't know what it is. I just don't care. This movie does have, though, the coolest scene in any of the movies.
Can I guess?
No, I won't say the coolest. The most emotional for me. Like the one scene that like actually like, kind of like gets me emotionally invested in these characters. Okay, because one thing I'll say about these movies, never in a fucking any of these movies besides this one part did I ever give a fuck about any of them, because the movie doesn't make you care about them at all. But it was that scene where Peter Parker is telling Aunt May that he's the one that's responsible for Uncle Ben's death.
Yeah,
and she like pulls her fucking hand away. Like that was the one scene in all of 3 of these movies where I was like, all right, that kind of gets me a little bit.
Yeah. I agree that scene fucking really gets me too. I think it's like, because I agree, like the movies don't provide you with anything to get you so invested in the characters that when they have an emotional moment that you have an emotional moment as well. Mm-hmm. But I think probably what it is that it's like Aunt May, you both see so much of the character but also so little of the character at the same time if you're comparing it to the rest of the characters, that because she's also older, she's elderly, she's the mother figure for the main character. So just those 2 labels alone are already going to have you a little weaker to that character inherently. Mm-hmm. So you're already like, even right out the gate. I have only 2 moments in the entire 3 movies that get me emotional. One is the scene that you were just talking about. And 2, not when Uncle Ben dies, but the last scene that Peter and Uncle Ben have in the car before he goes to wrestle Bonesaw.
In like heaven or whatever?
No, in the first movie.
Oh yeah.
In the first movie. Yeah, no, like before he actually dies. Mm-hmm. That scene before he goes to wrestle Bonesaw. Those are the 2 scenes that get me emotional, and it's exclusively because of Aunt May and Uncle Ben. That's it. No, anybody else could be really, any of the characters could be replaced in those scenes, and I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's because of those characters.
And I think that the reason why I don't care for this movie as much as most people do, I think it has to do with that factor of like the movies never got me to care about them at all. So like I don't care about Peter Parker in these movies. To me, Peter Parker, he's kind of just an asshole. So I don't give a fuck about him.
Dude, he is such an asshole in these
Yeah,
movies.
he's kind of just an asshole. Like, I like Spider-Man because Spider-Man's cool and does cool shit. But, like, Peter Parker, don't give a fuck. And this movie's more of a Peter Parker movie than it is a Spider-Man movie. So I think that's just why I don't fuck with this movie as much as I feel like most people do. It's
That's
still
fair,
a solid ass movie, and like definitely like rewatching it, it definitely like sort of laid the seeds for what was to come of like the more introspective and emotionally driven superhero movies that we see now.
Yeah.
Which in this stage in superhero movies are all fantastic.
Oh, totally.
And this was definitely like the first attempt at that. So I appreciate that, but I just because I didn't care about the character, I didn't care about this movie.
That's fair, though. I totally get that. Like for me, it's not even so much Peter Parker or Spider-Man isn't so much why I like this movie. For me, it's because like two main reasons. One, I think they struck gold with the villain. Both with how they handled the villain, but most importantly, Alfred Molina playing Otto Octavius.
He was great.
I think he knocked it out of the park and did a phenomenal job.
There was a couple moments that were kind of shitty, though. I'll say, like he did knock it out of the park, but that one fucking part when he's robbing the bank and he like takes Aunt May, because of course he has to take Aunt May out of everyone that's there. So he takes Aunt May and they're like crawling up the building or whatever. And Peter Parker goes, "Let her go." And he goes, "Sure thing." And then he drops her and he goes, "Butterfingers." Shut up.
Oh yeah. Shut up. That like, that's not great. The Butterfingers isn't great.
Terrible. That's not even like campy terrible. That's just terrible.
But yeah, and like
he killed it. He was great.
He was fantastic, you know, and I think another one of the reasons why I like this movie so much is you can kind of tell in the first movie that they wanted to do more past the first one, but they weren't 100% on it yet. You know, like they didn't want to go full ham and set up a bunch of shit and then completely get kicked to the wayside and never make another Spider-Man movie for either ever or a really long time, you know, but Spider-Man 1 came out and it was super successful. And so they're like, oh, so we're going to make a second one now. We know that the second one is going to do well enough that we can make a third one. Now let's start setting up stuff, you know? The Lizard is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, no matter how stupid dumb he is. But seeing them set up Kurt Connors in the second movie, like, really just gets me jazzed every time. And then I remember the fact that they had to completely push that to the wayside because they couldn't make their fourth movie.
Was Lizard supposed to be in the fourth movie? I thought it was just Vulture.
So...
Because I know Vulture was like going to be the main villain, but I haven't read anything about any side villains or anything.
They actually were going to be doing 3 more movies. They were going to do a 4th one, and then there was going to be a 5th and 6th, which were going to be the final one. They were going to treat them like Lord of the Rings. They were going to shoot the final 2 ones concurrently. And basically the end of I believe this is just what I've read. Of course, this isn't like 100% fully confirmed. There's only certain stuff that's been fully confirmed. But from what I've been reading is that 5 and 6 were going to be shot at the same time. They were going to be treated as a part 1 and part 2 of like a finale of the series, where they were going to introduce the Sinister Six, which one of them was going to be Lizard. But near the end of the 4th movie is when we were going to see Kurt Connors get turned into Lizard, but not actually have Spider-Man fight him. That was not going to be until the next movie. And that's all stuff that's being set up in the second movie, sort of, to an extent.
But I kind of just thought the whole Dr. Connors thing was just kind of a throwaway. Because I look at the actor and I'm like, that guy couldn't be fucking Lizard. that guy's a little pussy bitch.
But yeah, like stuff like that, you know, like there's a Doctor Strange reference at one point, which I thought was really cool.
that was really cool.
But yeah, like those are like mainly the reasons why I liked They also used a lot more of Ted Raimi's character in the second movie, which is awesome because he's barely used in the first one. And Ted Raimi's awesome. And for people who are listening who have no idea who I'm talking about, he's the guy who constantly pokes his head into J. Jonah Jameson's office. And
Pace just gets cucked by him all the time.
he just gets cucked by him all the time. Like he's just fantastic in everything. He's hilarious. So it was awesome to see more of him.
Yeah, I will say the second one is the best movie for J. Jonah Jameson. All
Totally.
of my favorite J. Jonah Jameson scenes come from this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just gangbusters every time he's on screen. Like
100%.
even in the third one, like he's just every time he's on screen, it's gonna be a good time, and you know it, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's fantastic. Super glad that he's back in the MCU too. That's so good.
What?
I'm so glad that he's back in the MCU.
He is? I'm fucking with you.
Okay, I was like, did you not know that? Did I just spoil it all for you?
No, I'm just fucking with you. Yeah, I didn't do that. I am also very, very happy, and I think the way that they're handling him is really, really good.
Like
and
an Alex Jones type
but
Infowars.
we'll talk about that when we get to those movies.
Fair.
So this movie, though, no matter how much I love it, has brought one of the worst things to the Spider-Man movies, which is future directors forcing themselves to try to recreate and make their own train scene. And I fucking hate it.
You're gonna hate me for this. You're actually gonna hate me for what I'm about to say.
What?
The train scene's stupid. I hate the train scene.
Fair.
It's a bad scene.
Okay, fair.
I don't like it.
Why?
I like it for one reason and one reason alone.
Why?
Joey Diaz is on it.
Oh,
Joey Diaz is on the train.
Holy shit, he is. It's okay. You know
He's the guy that's like, you want to get him, you gotta go through me, you cocksucker.
You know you know the cameos in the first movie where it's like going through the different people talking about Spider-Man? Fucking Jim Norton's one of them.
Yeah, I know. I don't like him.
And Lucy Lawless from I think is it Xena? I believe it's Xena. Yeah, Xena Warrior Princess. She's in it too.
Yeah, those are all great. But yeah. That's the only reason I like the train scene. I don't like it. I think it's bad.
I can understand not liking the train scene. I've come full circle. I used to really like it, but now I kind of hate it. Only because of that movie, because of that scene. I feel like both future Spider-Man movies and also other superhero movies try to recreate that type of scene, and it drives me nuts because it's, in my opinion, not even it's not even the best representation of Spider-Man being a superhero in those three movies. Not even close. There's many occasions where he does other things that I feel like it would have been more warranted for other movies to try to take from to do their own thing. But it's the train scene for some reason is what they do.
I think it's because like just the visual of the hero being in pain.
Yeah, like
it's a good way to visually represent a hero like sacrificing something for everybody.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know, man. Like it's just it's got to the point where like when I saw, I can't remember which one it was, but one of the newer Spider-Man movies has something like that where it's Peter trying to hold a ship together.
Oh, that's Homecoming.
Homecoming. And it's just like, you don't need that. I know you're trying to do the new train scene. I know you're trying to do it. You don't need to. Mm-hmm. The movie, spoiler alert, people. Spoiler for Homecoming. Homecoming is good as it is without it.
Yeah.
It's a great movie on its own. Without
100%.
that scene, it's great on its own. You know, there's other ways that you can have the superhero save the day. There are other ways.
Yeah, then I need to hold a thing together
and
stop it with my webs.
That or the villain going, I have this bus full of orphans, and I have
or
the
your
person,
girlfriend.
or the not even girlfriend, the girl you stare at awkwardly downtown, drops both of them. You can only save one, but then they end up saving both anyways. It's like, hey, directors and writers of superhero, stop it.
Yeah, they could also do so many cool stuff where like, what if he fucks up?
Well, yeah, what if he
What
fails?
if he does fuck up? Like, how cool would that have been if he didn't do it and he killed a bunch of fucking people?
Yeah, or someone close to him died because of it.
Yeah,
Because the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
exactly.
But no,
Boom.
they got to
Do
save
something
both.
cool. But no, you gotta saves both. Superman or Spider-Man looks super cool. Fucking kicks shit at everybody and wins.
Stupid.
That's how these movies go. But I mean, I get it. Like it's these movies were in the infancy of superhero movies, so you can't expect
I let
shit
it go
like that to go down. Yeah.
I let it go with these movies because, like you said, they're in the infancy, so I totally let them go. I'm more so saying about future movies, basically like
Cobb being in
I'd
the
say
whole scene.
6-ish, maybe 5 or 6 years after. If they're still doing it, stop it.
Yeah,
Stop it. You don't need to. Be creative. Do something new. Or steal something from something else that isn't being used a shit ton. Do that too. Go ahead. Remix it. I don't give a shit. Just stop trying to do your own train scene. Ugh. Now I'm heated. Talking about the fucking train scene again. Let's get back to actual Spider-Man 2. Man, we're fucking all over the place. I feel like in Spider-Man 2, there are 2 scenes that I can remember off the top of my head where Sam Raimi in the franchise, for the one and only time, they allowed him to flex his horror chops. And the scenes are pretty close together. First one is the scene where Doc Ock, or just Otto Octavius, is initially doing his test that fails. And like shards of glass are going everywhere. His wife gets a shard of glass in the eye. Like that definitely gave me like a horror thriller vibe. But most importantly, the one where Doc Ock's metal arms wake up in the hospital.
Oh yeah,
that part is fucking terrifying.
That's some good shit.
It is terrifying, and it's like it's genuinely like Sam Raimi just being given an opportunity to do horror again for a small little sequence, and it's great.
Yeah.
Good talk.
Yeah. Another great area that Sam Raimi gets to flex in these movies is, like we touched upon it with the wrestling promoter in the first one. In my opinion, Spider-Man 2 has the best Bruce Campbell cameo.
Is that the don't tell me. Is that the door guy?
Yeah, the door guy at the theater. And he's like telling him like, oh, fix your suit, tie your shoe, your tie's all messed up. And he's like, what the fuck do you want?
He's like, who are you?
Funny, dude.
It's dude,
so funny.
Bruce Campbell's great. Bruce Campbell's fantastic. I love him in everything.
If Sam Raimi is directing Multiverse of Madness,
he'll be in
Bruce
it.
Campbell cameo, dude.
He'll be in it.
He's gangbusters every time he's in a fucking scene.
He's fantastic. I also love the fact that they also used him as the tutorial voice for the video games.
Yeah.
At least the second one I remember. I don't know if they used him for the first and third. I think they did.
Well, because no one played those games, so they're terrible.
But I remember for Spider-Man 2, he did the voiceover for the tutorial, which I thought was fantastic. I thought that was a great idea. But yeah, dude, he's so good in those movies. But yeah, like that's really, really good. I will say Spider-Man 2 creates a great meme. It's pizza time.
Pizza time's a good meme.
It's a great meme.
I'll also say Spider-Man 2, thank you, Jesus, introduced me to the second best pizza I've ever had in my entire life.
What?
When I went to New York last year, we went to that restaurant that Peter Parker works at. It's an actual restaurant.
Oh, dead
Joe's
ass?
Pizza. Yeah, it's real.
Oh, shit.
We went there. Pizza was straight fire.
Oh, really?
It's actually the #1 highest rated pizza place in all of New York.
Oh, damn. That's hardcore.
It wasn't my favorite pizza we had in New York, but it was pretty damn good. So thank you, Spider-Man 2, for that.
I'll have to go to that. Also, another great meme. Where's my rent?
Yep, Rent. That's a good one.
Another good one. Dude, that...
Also the one of James Franco watching Peter Parker watching
Oh yeah.
Mary Jane in the play. That's a straight fire meme. Also, I have nothing left but Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie's, man, the Raimi trilogy's got memes
Got
for days.
memes for days. Also, side note, the guy who plays his landlord, great. Or is the rent?
Oh yeah, he's hilarious. He's hilarious.
Because he's in the second and the third one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, he's great. He's
Yeah,
hilarious.
and his daughter is super fucking weird.
She's fantastic in those movies
Yeah.
too. She's amazing. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm just looking through my notes. And Doctor Strange reference. Harry sucks ass. That was my note. That was my one and only note for Spider-Man 2. Harry sucks fucking ass in this movie. So boring.
I mean, Harry just sucks ass in all of them.
There is a chunk of time
It's just a bad character.
in one of the movies, and it's the spoiler alert, it's the third one, where I actually enjoy his character. But it's very specific. It's a specific chunk of the movie, but I'll get into that when we get to the third one. But in the entirety of the second movie, I can't care. I could not care less.
He's just annoying. Every time
So
he's on
annoying.
screen, he's like, "You killed my father."
I'm gonna
It's a
kill
stupid
you.
thing. I hate this so much about movies, okay? It happens all the time, movies, TV shows, books. It happens in every medium of fiction. And I fucking hate it, okay? And that is problems that characters have between each other that can be solved with a 30-second conversation.
Yeah.
And that's the entirety of fucking James Franco in this movie.
Just look
If he just
look
had
at Harry.
a 30-second talk with Peter, everything would be cleared up.
Yeah, just look at Harry and being like, just letting you know, technically your dad actually killed himself. He was also the Green
which,
Goblin.
by the way, is literally a conversation that happens in the third one with the butler.
Yep.
So
When
he
I
was
was
pissed at
cleaning
Peter for
his-
that long.
When I was cleaning his wounds, they had what was it? It was like they had
they were consistent with wounds from the glider.
from the
Which, how
blades
would
of
he
your
know that?
dad's glider. It's like,
How would he know that?
how does
It
this
makes
old
no
bag
sense.
know? What are you talking
This
about?
guy's a fucking forensic CSI detective or something.
What's that character's name
The
anyways?
initial entry wound is
Fucking Woodhouse? Who is it?
oh, that's Alfred. Just
Oh
fucking
God,
whatever.
so stupid. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, bless that old man, but it's like that character's stupid. Like, literally, that character is there just for that, and that's it.
Yep.
So dumb.
All right. What would you rate Spider-Man 2?
All
Directed
right.
by Sam Raimi, starring
I
Tobey
know
Maguire.
you're going to disagree with me, so I want to hear yours first.
I give Spider-Man 2 a mediocre 4.5 out of 10.
Oof.
Yeah.
Really?
I just don't like it. I just don't like this movie.
I gave it an 8.
And I think an 8?
Yeah.
That's a good score. I feel like the fact that people really jerk the little ding-dongs about this movie kind of like makes it worse for me, you know? Because it's like, I feel like if it was just a movie on its own, I'd probably think it's fine. I'd probably give it like a 6 or something. But because everyone fucking, you know, bleeds all over themselves for this fucking movie, it's like, I just like the fact that I don't care for it makes me not care for it more because everyone else loves it.
That's fair.
Which I know is a stupid way to rate movies. Well,
Yeah,
fuck you.
it's
It's
super
my
dumb.
own brain. I do what I want.
All right. Let's get this out of the way.
All right.
Let's hear it. Spider-Man 3.
This movie is a fucking pile of shit.
It's so bad.
That should, in an ideal world, that would just be where the podcast comes. No, this movie's terrible.
It's so bad.
There's very few redeeming qualities of this movie.
Yeah. Peter sucks.
Like, yep.
MJ sucks. Harry sucks. Venom sucks. Fucking Gwen Stacy sucks. The whole
Just
thing
boring.
sucks.
Like Gwen Stacy's just so boring. Why is she even there?
The only enjoyable thing out of this movie for me are very few things. One of them being, I think, is it Thomas Hayden Church? Is the actor who played Sandman? I think Sandman. I think that they had something there with Sandman.
And then they
if it was-
shoehorned in that stupid fucking plot of him killing Uncle Ben.
Yeah, if it was
made no
only
sense.
Sandman. That's what I feel would have saved this movie if it was only Sandman, and then maybe a villain for earlier in the movie.
Well, they could have done like Sandman, and then like
Harry,
done the whole character arc. Yeah, like Hobgoblin turning like redeeming himself and turning good at the end.
Totally.
You know, like that would have been cool. But then they did the Venom.
Stupid.
They did Venom in this movie.
Avi
Remember that?
Arad is the worst thing to happen to the Spider-Man character, literally.
I'm so glad he got fired from Marvel.
Oh, dude, I was so happy to hear. Did you ever hear his reported reasoning for getting them to put Venom?
No, what was it?
And it was because Sam Raimi was acting like too much of a fan and putting characters that he wanted in the movie. And that
he writes it.
And that, just wait, it gets worse. And that they should put characters that are more widely like accessible, aka what this means, because Avi Arad comes from toys. Yeah. And I don't know if you know this, but out of like the outside of Spider-Man, Venom sells like gangbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Gangbusters. That's basically his reasoning. It's gonna sell toys. That's basically his reasoning.
I mean, yeah, that's the whole reason the fucking prequels exist. So
stupid.
That's fucking dumb shit. But like, I'm not gonna be one of those people that say like, oh, if you don't have Venom in this movie, it would be good.
Oh, no, not true at all.
Dog shit.
It would still be
terrible
bad
if you cut Venom out of it. Because Venom doesn't really show up until the end, anyways.
Yeah,
like he's really just shoehorned into the final act.
Also, I 100% agree with you saying that if you take Venom out, it would still be a dog shit movie. But even if you just took out Venom but left Eddie Brock, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I didn't hate what's his nuts as
Topher
Eddie
Grace.
Brock.
Me neither.
Topher Grace, that fucking asshole.
I thought he was actually
hate him.
I thought he was pretty good.
He was funny. He was like a more like okay with the fact that he's an asshole version of Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was like more of an unapologetic asshole than Peter, because Peter Parker's an asshole, but like he refuses to believe it because he's a hero.
I also felt like it was a really good idea to give, because like, yeah, like technically there's people who are going against Peter Parker, like J. Jonah Jameson and stuff like that, but it's like Spider-Man had his enemies. Peter Parker didn't really have his enemies. He had people that he ran into conflict with, but not really enemies. And I feel like Eddie Brock gave Peter Parker an enemy. And I think that like, and that's what I feel on how the character works so well in the comics too, is that it gives, and the animated series too, because it gives Peter Parker like an enemy to have conflict with. But Venom's dog shit in this movie. Absolutely horrible.
Terrible. The design of it's terrible. The way it's implemented is terrible. He's not intimidating at all. He gets beat in like 2 fucking minutes by some fucking pipes that make sound.
Also, New Gobbo sucks.
Oh yeah, terrible. So, like even Sandman's kind of a little bitch. He just gets killed by water. Like none of the villains are intimidating in this movie. Like at least Doc Ock, super intimidating. Like
totally,
you could see a world where Doc Ock wins and beats Spider-Man. You can see a world where Green Goblin won and beat Spider-Man.
Totally,
dude. None of these villains fucking came close to beating Spider-Man in this movie. Like there's all dog shit. Yeah. They're all unpowerful little shits that get beat in 2 minutes.
Yeah,
and like I can't believe that that's like the big spectacle that ended this franchise.
Yeah,
is Venom gets beat by some fucking loud noises.
Are
you kidding me?
There is, though, in my opinion, one actually good aspect to this movie. And I hate to admit this because it's my least favorite character in the entire franchise, which is Harry Osborn.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I, even though I know you and I were talking about this before the podcast, just to reiterate for the listeners at home, there's a point in Spider-Man 3 where Harry gets amnesia. And then there's...
And it's conveniently just before the first movie happens.
Yeah. But then there is a specific moment where either he regains his memory or wait. Fuck, I can't remember. Is it because like the scene between Peter and Harry in the diner, that is after he quote unquote gets amnesia, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's after he remembers it all.
Right.
Again.
Okay. I was just making sure that I was describing it correctly and that I wasn't getting the timeline of the movie mixed up. So there's a point in time after he gets amnesia where he does start remembering.
Because he has a conversation with a fucking mask.
And in between, after the conversation with the mask, up until he gets into that fight with Peter.
No, it wasn't a mask. It was like his ghost dad or something. It was ghost dad.
But it was his ghost dad in the hallways. So after that scene, up until he gets in that fight with Peter, that eventually gets the pumpkin bomb explode in his face. Just that short chunk of time, I feel we get the best version of Harry Osborn. That scene in the diner between him and Peter, and then when Peter looks back in the diner, and dude, he's just giving that fucking shit-eating, menacing grin. That's the only time in the movie where I'm sitting there watching it, being like, I could totally see Harry becoming a main villain, and then they fuck it up.
Yeah,
and then they
also,
fuck it up.
He hides under the table for no reason.
Yeah, I don't know why he's hiding under the table.
Why was that? That didn't have to be a part of the movie. They could have done a cool thing where like the truck goes by and then as the truck passes, it transitions to the next scene.
Yeah.
But they kept it, and then James Franco's not there anymore. And then that black dude just
looks under the table.
Yeah, he's looking right under the table. Like, what are you doing down there, dude?
He's like, hey, can you sign my Freaks and Geeks poster?
Hey, are you James Franco from Spider-Man 3?
And he's like, yeah, we're filming that right now. Can I paint you naked?
This is my favorite joke from This Is the End, by the way.
What?
Is when there's some character or something that like only references James Franco as James Franco from Spider-Man 3.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now, yeah.
And he has like the hobgoblin like cut out in his basement.
Yeah.
All right.
Honestly, like, it's funny because I go into this being like, I have so much to say about this movie, but it's like I kind of don't because
it's just bad, like, because it's just bad.
Well, and like I feel like I've said everything. Like I've already said everything so much over and over again for so many years. Like it's different for the Amazing Spider-Man movies because like we weren't doing the podcast at the time when they were coming out. I didn't know a lot of people who had seen them a lot. And my opinions totally changed of both of those movies since then. So it's like I have a lot to talk about those movies, but it's like, dude, I am over Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, it's been talked to death about. Like everyone knows that this movie's bad. Like it's the case study of a bad third movie in a trilogy.
If I rewatch the movies over again, genuinely, I'm just gonna skip the third one.
Yeah, because it's unnecessary.
And I'll probably skip the two Amazing Spider-Man. I'll just do 1, 2, and then all of the Tom Holland ones, and then Spider-Verse, just a cherry on the top. But like other than that, man, like it's just like I don't know, dude. This movie sucks.
Yeah, it really does.
Like he dances.
I feel like though we haven't talked about her at all. I feel like this is the best part to talk about just how incredibly dogshit of a character Mary Jane Watson is in all of these movies.
Yeah,
there's not a single part of these movies where for a second I think Mary Jane Watson is a good person and is deserving of the love that Peter Parker has for her. Never once. She's always a piece of shit. She's never a good person in any of these movies. I hate her the whole time.
I agree.
The only thing she's got going for her, she's kind of cute. That's literally her character. She's kind of cute.
Yeah,
that's all she's got.
I don't really like get it, and like, yeah, I don't really get it either, you know, because it's just like I can understand during the first movie, You know, at least like for the first chunk of the first. Actually, no, I'd say for the entire first movie, I can understand it. You know, because it's like Peter's in high school for the first like big chunk of the movie, and then he's just out of high school. He hasn't seen her in a while, so it's like that rekindling of an old flame and like all that kind of stuff. I can totally get it in the first movie. After that, I don't get it, dude. I don't get it.
She's just unlikable.
Super unlikable.
Like what? Like what? How does she get all these guys that are just going crazy for her? It makes no sense. Jamie, literally, I was finishing watching the third one, and my fiance comes home, and she comes into my little office where I was watching the movie, and the movie's on, and we're talking about Mary Jane and about how shit of a character she is, and then in my head, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that in all three of these movies, she cheats on somebody.
Yeah.
And right as I say that, she cheats on Peter in the third one. I'm like, because she does. In all three movies, she cheats on the boyfriend she has in that movie. Because in Spider-Man 1, she kisses Spider-Man while she's dating James Franco.
Yep.
In Spider-Man 2, she kisses Peter as like while she's dating that fucking dude, the astronaut guy that was completely irrelevant to the movie. And then in the fucking third one, she kisses James Franco while she's still dating fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't.
She's just a bitch. She's just horrible.
I don't get it. I don't.
And then she's just like super bitter that like, oh, my boyfriend's more successful than me. I hate my life. Like, oh, I'm not the center of everyone's fucking world anymore. Oh, no. Like, shut the fuck up, you fucking narcissistic cunt. I hate her.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I hate her.
Also, you know what's super annoying about that character that she's, like the astronaut that she's seeing?
Mm-hmm.
That character is so important to the comic books, but they barely used him.
Yeah.
Because that's John Jameson. So that's J. Jonah Jameson's son. And in the comic books, he's also an astronaut. And in the comic books, he goes out to space and he brings something back by accident. Guess what that thing is?
It's fucking Venom.
It's fucking Venom. So he's super important.
And they could have used that. They could have used that in these movies. But that's just a random fucking meteor that happens to fall close to Spider-Man's suit.
And also, I am okay. All right. Okay. This is a complaint of mine that spreads all of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly the original trilogy. Because I don't remember them doing in any of the other ones after that. The upside down kiss, I'm over it.
Yeah, it's been done.
It's stupid.
Also, it's a horrible way to kiss. I don't know if you've ever kissed like that.
I haven't, and I don't want to.
It's a horrible way to kiss. When this podcast is over, go kiss your wife like that.
Hey, babe.
It's terrible.
I'm being told to Spider-Man upside down kiss you after this podcast. Oh, she's
do a review.
I was expecting her to say no, and she's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, next week we'll do a review of the Spider-Man upside down kiss.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, man, it's fucking bad.
I'm over it,
and it's
just because it won that stupid award.
What did?
Okay, so the fucking MTV Awards used to have a category for best kiss,
right?
And like,
sorry.
In my opinion, the award just existed to get that scene an award because girls liked it for some reason. So yeah, it's because although I will say it did lead to the best part in the Spider-Man porn parody, where
I can already see this coming.
Spider-Man he comes down a little bit and then they make out, and then he just like web slings a little bit further down and his dick's out.
Yeah, I like the second you said Spider-Man porn parody, I'm like, I know exactly where this is going.
Yeah, it's great.
I've never seen it, but check it out. Totally, I could see the joke coming from a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it.
I can't wait. Like, it's surprising me that they haven't tried to recreate that in the other ones. Like,
I'm glad they haven't.
Even like just like a little nod to it. Like, let's say in like the new one, like whatever the third one comes out with Tom Holland, like a scene where like Spider-Man's he's like laying on the couch and then Zendaya just kisses him upside down. Like that'd be I don't know, like a little homage. You don't have to do the exact kiss, but a little tiny homage. I don't want that to happen. I'm just saying I'm surprised they haven't done it because it's such an iconic Spider-Man moment.
Yeah, real quick, and we'll get more into it when we go to review the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I am so happy with the most recent movies that they've actually given. They've given us a good MJ. I actually enjoy that character, and I enjoy Zendaya as that character. I think the casting's really good. I think they write her really well, and I like the really snarky attitude that they give her too. The new version of MJ in the most recent movies is, out of the live action movies, the best, I guess, love interest that they have given Peter Parker in the live action movies, hands down.
Disagree, but I see.
Are you a fucking Emma Stone, Gwen Stacy stan?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of hot takes in this next episode,
dude. Because
I kind of like those movies.
Oh my god. We're gonna get in a shouting match during that podcast.
I like them,
but we should log off because it's getting really long. But first, before we do that, what's your rating for Spider-Man 3?
Fucking 2 out of 10, dude. The 2 points are just for J. Jonah Jameson and Bruce Campbell's cameo.
We have the same rating.
Nice.
We
finally agree on a Spider-Man.
I also gave it a 2 out of 10 as well because the movie is dog poo poo.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't quite reach the lows of like Attack of the Clones or The Last Jedi, but still pretty fucking dog shit.
Yeah, totally.
It's definitely the worst Spider-Man movie. People that say that Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the worst, suck my dick. This movie's way worse
then get
than
over
Amazing
here.
Spider-Man 2.
Because Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the worst fucking Spider-Man movie.
I could be at your house, 20 minutes?
Yeah, sounds good.
Go take a shower.
All right.
I
won't out of dominance.
It's just sheer dominance.
I'll stare you in the eye.
My sweaty dick. All right. Yeah, that's it for the Stop Listening Now podcast episode. We don't number them.
Yep. All of our...
Make sure to tune in next week. It's good when we both are doing outros at the same time.
Yeah, let's just do it at the same time.
Yeah.
Sick.
And then neither of us does.
Anyways, you can follow our social media profiles, which are all in the notes, in the podcast notes. Let us know what your ratings are and your favorite and your likes and dislikes about the first 3 Spider-Man movies.
Not liking Spider-Man 2.
Next episode, we will, at the minimum, talk about Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. We may talk about the 2 Tom Holland movies as well. May not, but at the bare minimum, we will do the 2 Amazing Spider-Man movies. Anything else you need to say before we sign off for the podcast?
I got you for 3 minutes of playtime, baby.
You're going nowhere.
You better stop listening now.
Oh my god.